Right, so I'll show you what I'm going to do. This section of the body, that's obviously still very much human, you can still see it a lot of the time because the button placement on the shirt, you do up this one, but then this one's all the way up here and it won't reach across because of this fur piece here, so it will never close. So you can always see this. I think someone suggested getting a fur suit or something on eBay, but I found this. This is the smaller equivalent of this, but for a dog soldier's figure by Sota Toys, and it's pretty much the same color. So what I'm going to do is put a cut down here, spread this open, and then glue it underneath that layer, so this bit will be covered up with more hair and you won't be able to see that anymore. So luckily I had the dog soldiers Sota Toys figure lying around. This was actually a broken one, so I don't mind cutting this up. I had the brown version and the grey version, and this is the grey obviously. So I'll let you know how that goes. Just show you, here is my older brown version of that werewolf with the mane that I've used for the mod. And oh, that was easy. And there it is. You just that's what I've used. I cut it at the back here because I wanted this longer section. Sorry about the focus. I wanted this longer section to be at the front of the big 1/6 one. So that's what I did. If you can get yourself one of these werewolves, that's the way to go to make that little mod happen. It's weird how these things work out. I mean, that could possibly be the best solution for that particular issue with the 1/6 werewolf. I just happen to have the answer right here in the form of another werewolf. So that's cool. Yes, I did add that blood myself, and I didn't do the best job. And he's gone a bit wonky. Look at the way he's leaning forward. He's not supposed to be leaning forward that much, but his joints are starting to sort of just separate or whatever it is. But yeah, that's what I used. Well, that worked out pretty nice. There's a slight difference in sort of paint detailing, you can see. But even with this bright light shining right at it, you would notice those differences. But with the light off, I'm sure it would be fine. I didn't have to glue it down. I just literally cut it at the back and then placed it underneath this one on top. This is just a little before and after. Obviously, this is before the mod. Not very pleasing to the eye if you want to have him looking up and howling at the moon. And now I'll show you with the mod. If I can just try and show you how I did this. Obviously, there's the cut. And then one-handed, I'm not going to be able to do this, but hopefully you can get the idea. You can piece the rest of it together for yourself. You have to lift that up a little bit so you can get this underneath. And then Bob's your uncle. Just kind of put them over his shoulders. And then that will hold it in place. No need for any glue. And as you can see, it's a pretty close match. And let's see what it looks like with that little fix. And there it is with the new piece put under. So that's what it looks like after the mod. Much, much better. I'll just move back a little bit. You can see, blends in pretty well. As I say, you could always adjust the paint yourself if you really wanted to, but I think without a big bright light shining at it, that'll look just fine. Excellent. And there you go. Now there's no more human sections showing. It all sort of flows. I can't wait to get the head back on it. And this was bugging me. I've got to be honest, because the way they put the one button there and then the next one's all the way up here, you see it there, that's way too high to be able to close it and cover the human bit. So it was really distracting and it kind of just kept bugging me. So I finally found a solution without needing to actually glue anything to it or actually do anything to it that would devalue it. I just literally put the old dog soldier's mane underneath. Looks good. Looks real good. Yeah, I'll just give you a quick peek at it, how it's looking. I'm in the middle of doing all the photography at the moment, so there's the effect now with the sort of human bit covered up with that new dog soldier's mane right there. And it's looking good. Again, got the bright light from the camera shining right at this thing at the moment, so it does look very, very overlit for something like this. But obviously in the showcase videos you'll see it as I sort of intend, all moody and dark and scary. This thing looks amazing when you you know, you mess around with the lights and stuff. It's really creepy. But yep, just wanted to show you this. Really, really advise you, if you do have a dog soldier, Sota Toys werewolf lying around, get ready to use part of it for this. or if you can get one of those werewolves, or if you have a friend who has one of those Sota Toys werewolves, get hold of it, because you'll probably need it for this, unless you want to do some other technique of getting that covered up. But I really think this is the way to go. It's just you don't have to glue anything, you don't have to stitch anything, you don't have to touch anything other than just put an extra little something there. So yeah, just trying to think in my head now. I'm trying to think of questions that I remember people on Facebook asking me. They're not really coming to me right now in my head, so I just have to cover that in another video. But I think people were saying, you know, is it sturdy? Is it solid? Uh, it's like a Hot Toys kind of true type, but to be honest, like a cheaper one under here, and it's holding all these big heavy werewolf arms and legs on here. So, like for instance, let's see if he'll hold. The joints are good. I mean, it will. You got the elbow bend here, but because of the weight of that werewolf hand, it doesn't stay up too well. But this one is better for some reason. The hand stays up pretty good on that one. He's got good posability in his neck as well. Um, and it's great now because before I did this mod, I couldn't pose it like this, which is the kind of pose I was kind of going to go for when I did the final display on the shelf. Wanted them sort of screaming up at the moon. But I couldn't really do it because before I put this here, this was all like, you could see the cheap kind of, you can still see it, where is it, that kind of, you know, skin tone. It was all here, and that was not good. So it's worked out great. Alright, so bear with me while I get the rest of the photography done for this, and I'll get the showcase video happening. And then once I've done all the pictures for that video, I'll have a much better understanding of how this thing moves and what to do with it. I can give you a nice thorough review, any warnings you might need to know about. But that was the main thing that jumped out at me that needed fixing, so that's the way I've done it. And I hope it's some help to you guys who are picking this up in the future or expecting this to turn up very soon. Other than that little situation on the chest, I'm sure you'll be very happy. But yep, more coming soon. And I'll see you guys at the next full moon.